Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The Darkest Minds. When I first saw trailers for this film, I thought, wow, 20th Century Fox is really trying to fill that void and somewhat cannibalize itself by releasing an X-Men light film before we get those next X-Men films. Because really, that's what this looked like to me. A derivative, less impressive version of the X-Men. I will say that's not quite what I got, but unfortunately, what I got was worse. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, I think our cast is good with the material they are given. I think all of these kids do what they can do with the director at hand, with the script at hand. I think they are all charming enough. They come across nice enough. Amantla Stenberg is charming. She always comes across with like a nice amount of warmth, although she always comes across as a slightly kind of like sad character. This was the second time I had ever seen Harrison Dickinson after Beach Rats last year. He also kind of plays a similar-ish role. He's just much better in Beach Rats than he is here. But he comes across well enough. Mandy Moore comes across well enough. Everybody here comes across fine. And I think they really did do the best they could with the material at hand. I also do want to commend the film because I do think it looks very good. The cinematography is very nice. The shot composition is really well done. I think the camera work in general looks beautiful. They create atmosphere, whether it be inside of a deserted mall or out in fields, on the road, in camp, wherever it is, the film always looks very good. And for not being a big blockbuster superhero film, I also think that the special effects were well done. Of course, there are a few times when you're like, oh, that doesn't look so good. But overall, at large, I think the effects did all look very good. So it's a pretty film. That is pretty much where my positives end here. Because this is so derivative and so boring. And I think that's the biggest crime it could have possibly committed, being this dull. There is no life in this film. As I alluded to in my introduction, these kids have powers, which give off a kind of X-Men-y feel to it. But I think a more accurate description of what this film is X-Men Light meets Divergent meets Twilight meets pretty much every other young adult dystopian film. Because at the core, this movie is a romance. This movie is about two teenagers and their relationship. And all of this like superpower dystopian land is just kind of the outside dressing to this cheesy, hollow, nobody cares romance. And you can tell that all of that dressing is second thought because nothing is really fleshed out. A lot of what's happening doesn't make sense. You're constantly like dinged off on like, well, wait a minute. What about this? Or what about new babies being born? Or what about blah, 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 blah. None of the world building aspects are done, really, at all. They just plop us in, say, forget logic for a sec, and just go along for the ride, shall you? And if you're going in looking for an X-Men style film, there's not very much action in here. Powers get used every so often, but not as much as you'd like, and that results in the fact that we're mostly just kind of like along for a ride. We get a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of driving, a whole lot of walking, without a whole lot of character development, without interesting conversations being had or interesting developments unfolding. And this script, the script is horrible. It is so bad. The dialogue is just horrible in this movie. Everything unfolds exactly as you anticipate it to unfold. I said it before, this is just derivative. It feels like every other dystopian young adult film that we've received since Harry Potter started the onslaught of them. And it's not one of the better ones, unfortunately. So recommending this film is actually pretty easy. if you're jonesing, if you're just like convulsing for a new dystopian young adult film, give this a matinee. By all means, I think you'll find enough to like here. If you've enjoyed them, even the worst of the bunch, go give this a matinee price. Otherwise, this doesn't add anything new to the landscape, and it just drags on and on. Has no pulse to it, has no joy to it, has no adventure to it. So I think you can just skip The Darkest Minds altogether, because it doesn't add anything to an already pretty much lifeless genre at this point. So that is my review of The Darkest Minds. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Darkest Minds, or have you already seen it? If you have, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!